Howdy folks, this is a midweek shave for me. The soap of the day, Arko, and I have taken the puck out and I put it in a shaving mug, and yes, you can still smell the scent inside the empty container. I myself like this scent. It's a very clean scent. Whipped it up with a, it's kind of hard to tell with all the lather there. This is an Omega brush. It's got a Boar bristle. And here's the shaving mug I got it in. Worked up a lather there. And the shaver of the day is a inexpensive classic samurai. It has a fresh Personna blade in it. This was one of two of my very first shavettes that I ordered when I first started using a shavette. And yeah, my first shaves with a shavette sustained a few cuts here and there, and it seems like the popular place for my my cuts was with across the grain strokes right there. I mean, almost identical. If they weren't, if it wasn't the exact same spot, they were just a tiny bit apart. And eventually, I finally got this one down. Never got one going this way. Always over here. And I guess maybe it had a lot to do with me just being in a hurry. Which with a shavette, until you get to to be somewhat more experienced with it, being in a hurry with a shavette or a straight razor, that's not a good thing when you're first starting out. You're going to have to be patient and have time for it. And it does demand all your attention. Yeah, those first days were quite interesting. Because it wasn't the shavette's fault. It was the user's fault. That is one thing you can't fault Arko for, is having a weak scent. Because even my nose picks it up. I have already used a hot towel to the face. I've taken the bloom water and put it on the face as a pre-shave. I got a message from a gentleman. I believe you pronounce his name Mustafa. I'm sorry, I know I'm buggering it up. Anyway, I'll send him a message to let him know after I get this video uploaded that it's out there. He had a question about how to hold the shavette on a cross-grain passes, which for me, as I started out letting you know, for me it's been a difficult pass, especially when you get further down here. And today I'm using the classic samurai, which is a folder. In other words, it's got a handle that folds, but this one here is it's got a guard on it. This is a Feather Artist Club SS, Camisori style, and the SS meaning basically this part right here looks like that. And in my opinion, when I very first started looking at them, at that point in time they were somewhat more expensive than what they are nowadays. You can usually find these for about $60, $65 on Amazon and a few other places. And always felt like this was the one to start with, and because of cost I decided not to. Eventually decided to, as you can tell, and it's my favorite shaver. It is the easiest one to shave with, in my opinion, to maneuver around your face. To me, it's just an easier one to use. Something to keep in mind. We'll start with the first pass. And what I usually do when I get close to my neck area, especially down on this particular side, I have creases in my neck, and that has a tendency to, the razor will get caught on it. In other words, I'll get a cut. So the best I usually do on the neck areas, I will try to, when I have that need, I will go at an angle. Because right here, for instance, I have a, my hair grows in a curlicue. There's not always a need for me to there's not always a need for me to shave real well right there, because in other words, usually 2 or 3 days of a shave and it's really not all that noticeable when I'm rubbing my hand across my face. But every once in a while I usually will end up having to take like a single edge razor or DE, and I just catch this part real quick, because it's not an easy stroke to try to catch going across the grain like that. And since I don't have a daily need, it is somewhat easier just to just catch it with a DE razor or a single edge. I don't do that stroke very often, needless to say, because it is it's not an easy one for me. Never has been. Usually with the grain pass, I don't have my stretching is a little bit different than against the grain. Also notice that over time I have felt that with the grain it's not too terribly tough on my skin, but against the grain I definitely need to stretch. Now, if it helps any, also a person may have noticed a few other shavers, depending on your jawline. Mine's not, since it's kind of round, my jawline is not really pronounced. And if you have one that's like that, a technique that can be used to get past that jawline is to raise your, pull your skin up. That way you'll catch that part on your jawline, but further up here on a flatter surface. That will make things a little bit easier for you. It may not look like it just then, but that was at an angle. I don't, like I say, I try not to do right at a 90 degree, because every time I try that I get cut. It doesn't work well for me, in other words. This depends on how your face is shaped, on how it's going to work out for you. It doesn't have to be much of an angle, but you can tell it's enough where it's not 90 degrees, and it just does work out better for me. I've also got a wet towel over here on the side. Jonathan Romanoff, I watch his videos, and he mentioned that one time about using a damp towel, a wet towel, to wipe his straight razors on. And that seemed to help him when it comes to trying to keep water away from that pivot pin, keep it from rusting on you. Yeah, I'm getting close. Today is what, Wednesday? Because normally, not always, but normally on a Sunday I may shave with a DE razor. So in other words, Sunday I would have cut that part with the DE razor, and you kind of tell it's starting to get to the point where I may have to catch it here pretty soon. give it a try today and see if I can get it. It to me is just no more what I need it for. It's just as easy to pick up a DE razor or a straight single edge. That's what I'm trying to say. Depends on what the flavor of the week is for me. Most of the time, not always 5 days a week, I'm shaving with a shavette, and then on the weekends I shave with a single edge and a double edge razor. I enjoy the experience, I guess you might say, across the board. I do dabble with a straight razor on occasion. Stropping skills have gotten better, thank goodness. Watch many videos and try to visualize and get it straight in my head on how that's supposed to work. Things work better for me if I can see it in my head. Alright, this is going to be across the grain, and it just depends on which direction works best for you, whether it's from the ear going to the nose. And I've also noticed that sometimes I may start on the ear this way, go this way, then I found myself starting here and then going here, so it's just like going from ear to ear. I guess because I sustained too many cuts over here, subconsciously I decided to do something different. Anyway. I can hear the feedback. It's pretty cool. It's not always do I hear the feedback on a razor. Shavette, that is. Like I say, down here, this is where things get a little bit more difficult. And I watched a few videos, and for me, this is where the folder, how can you say, causes me a little bit of a problem. Because if I try to hold it camisori style, then it's too long. So I have to figure out how to make that handle move out of the way. And like I say, I normally on the neck area, I just work at 45-degree angles as opposed to trying to shave all the way across like that, because that's a tough pass. That is not an easy one to do. What I was thinking about doing was, I was thinking about shaving one side of my face with a folder and another side with a camisori, so I can, I guess you might say, kind of demonstrate how much easier it is for me to shave with one versus the other. I keep on working with the folders because I know eventually I'll get there. You'll just have to, person will just have to keep on working with the razor and figure out what works best for you on how you hold it. And like I say, you might decide to go to a camisori style and figure out that's the style to go for you. I don't know if you can get by, in other words, trying to do the east-west pass with doing it at a 45 like that or not. Working at an angle. Try to catch that one right there, because if I get the stroke just right, I can get by without having to use another shaver. And what it is I'm working, like I say, working it at an angle. Gives it more of a across the grain pass, especially for me right there, knowing how it grows. In my opinion, where the more densulated, populated hair is at, the whiskers, those are the harder, more difficult passes to get without causing irritation for me. My hair growth back here on both sides is really odd. It'll feel like against the grain pass going this way, this way, this way, and this way. No matter which way you go, it feels like an against the grain pass on the on that. I know it grows in different directions, but it's like, wow, that's not an easy place to get a really close shave right there. In other words, if you're looking for BBS right there, that's a pretty tough area for me to get. You just have to do some trial and error, figure out which angle works best for you with your hair growth. Because my hair growth it does grow every which way. You may have heard me talk in one of my other videos. My son and I, we talk about it every once in a while, because he's 13. He's very interested in shaving. It's I can kind of tell he interprets that as a manly thing to do, and he's anxious to be manly. So he's been looking at his hair growth, and he's been looking at mine, and realizing that we both have the same kind of messed up hair growth. It grows every which way. Alright, lather up for the third pass here. I normally just do 2, sometimes 2.5. My half passes are just doing across the grain up here on the cheeks. But we'll go for a 3 today and see how it works out. The Personna blade that I'm using today usually does well for me. Another one that you can get in the pre-cut form, if you will, is a Perma-Sharp, and I've gotten really good shaves with those blades also. I do okay with Derby pre-cut blades, but I get a smoother, more comfortable shave with either a Personna or a Perma-Sharp in this particular shaver. You just have to figure out what works best for you. I can still smell the Arko. I like that. I like stronger scents. I can make do and be happy with a lightly scented soap if it's consistent all the way through the shave. In other words, it's light, but it's still very much present. I do alright with those. Those don't, like how you say, disappoint me. Nothing like having a lightly scented soap that when you first start with it, you smell it, but then after that, it just seems like it dissipates, it runs away. I probably should mention, there's one thing that Jonathan mentioned in one of his videos, and that is the how he holds up here. How he talks about it is definitely easier on something that is not that skinny. In other words, on a straight razor, it's easier to use like your index and your thumb or whatever to manipulate it to work your angle. That's where I found that the Camisori style, the feather, how big it is, and that being round, it's easier for me to manipulate it like that. But I've learned how to use these. One of the things I liked about this particular shaver is the fact that the scales come in different colors. You can tell it comes in a red color. It comes in a black, blue, off-white, and I do know that on occasion you can find, I've seen, and you have to hunt for them if you're interested in one of those. They do come in pink. It was just an off chance that I saw a pink one. Wasn't looking for it. Yeah, I think the alum block's going to let me know right about there. It got a little close right there. I felt that one. This is where it's really populated, so it's a little tougher to get through. It's where I also feel that a Personna blade for me works really well. That and Perma-Sharp. Guess you might say that's my test of the razor, of the blade, is how well does it handle my area right up in here, because it's really densely populated. It gets really tough through there, and if I can get through there without any irritation or very little irritation, pretty good indication that the razor is going to work well for me. If you're just starting out with one of these, you definitely want to be patient with yourself. Move at your pace, at a slow pace. Don't rush. It'll all come to you in time. You just got to be, how you say, diligent, persistent, determined, and it is going to take your focus. So if you know on a particular day that you didn't, how can you say, not bringing your A game, maybe you should go ahead and opt for one of your other shavers. Because if you can't give it your full attention, good chance you're going to end up with a cut or a bad shave. And for me, I'm not looking for a BBS shave. I'm looking for a smooth, comfortable shave. That's what I'm looking for. To me, that just works better. My face is happier. My shaves look just fine going to work. I work most of the time in the office setting. Sometimes I have to go out to what we call the field job sites. So my shaves, it's more than adequate for my work. They're not taking, you say, hard pressed where you come in, have to be clean shaven. Over half of our workforce has got beards, so hey. Alright, going to come out with my trusty alum block rubber band. Yep, right there. I got a little close, put too much pressure, and depending on how much pressure I put there, that's a typical spot, as well as over here on this side. Because like I said, it is densely populated over there, and it's not the easiest to shave without a little bit of irritation. And as it goes for anything you see here, back over here, I don't even have to shave. It'll be in the evening, and this may be red over here. It's just a natural thing for me. And I take my alum block, I dry it off on my dry towel down here, and I put it right back in the case, and so far it's worked well for me. Haven't had any ill effect. Share the bathroom with other folks, so in other words, you know, leaving stuff out isn't always an option. Oh, witch hazel, which it's starting to get down to the bottom there. Which I'm going to start my next container of witch hazel is lilac scented, and I'm going to see how that works for me. I don't think the scent is going to hang around long enough to, how you say, interfere with any aftershave. I think it's light enough where it's not going to matter. It's just something you smell for the moment. It's Humphreys also, by the way. My Thayer's is has aloe in it, and that you can tell it's got the aloe in it. The aftershave I chose to use today is, I got it from Barber's Depot, and Stephen, depending on how you want to pronounce that. And this particular, it says spicy aftershave cologne. This scent out of the container, my nose, what it picks up may be different than yours, but it is spicy, and I do pick up a warm scent, like an amber or something like that. It's not exactly, in other words, like Old Spice. It's got a little bit of warmth to it. And I know it's not a real popular one to compare to, but I also have from Avon. I have yeah, right over here. See if you can see that. A brisk spice, and this one here is a warm one. It reminds me kind of Old Spice, but it's warm. And you definitely will feel the warmth on your face, which is interesting. Not cooling, but it warms. So depending on what you're looking for, I like the cooling effect. Eucalyptus, mint, menthol, I like that. But I was quite surprised on that one there, because it'll warm your face up. So for those maybe in the wintertime or the cooler months, would like an aftershave like that one. Well, my typical spots I get from time to time in the way of the report from the alum block. Matter of fact, both spots, you might be able to see a little bit of, it's a little tender right there. Got a little bit of a sting there, and then down here where I knew I got a little bit too much pressure right there. I could feel it. Wasn't a cut, but boy howdy. Felt like I was taking out just a little bit of skin right there. Well, I hope this was helpful. Like I say, cross the grain down through here. Never been able to master that, but using, I guess you might say, 45-degree angles have really helped a lot. And hey, there's no shame in keeping your other handy-dandy razor to catch those spots real quick and have a smooth shave. Hope everybody's well. Stay safe. Smooth shaves to you.